What up, cappers, gamblers, punters, hustlers, low baggers? Thank you for watching Sportsbook Review. This is Benny with the Bag, 9 a.m. here in San Jose, Costa Rica. Big Tuesday MLB card, 16 games on the slate. A very enjoyable Monday nighter. If you were hanging with us, man, we did live betting with the stars of the KegCast, and it was a lot of fun to hang out with everybody. Made a kind of a dull game very, very enjoyable, a lot of fun. And thankfully hit the Redskins team total under, lost the full game under. Could have been just horrifying. I was fortunate to hit that Redskins team total under, man. Oh, God. Shout out to the cappers in the chat, and shout out to everybody who joined us last night. It was very, very enjoyable. We had a lot of low baggers in the chat, lots of laughs, lots of fun. So I enjoyed it immensely. Thank you guys all for supporting it. We got Gio Mercedes in the house. That team total under was 9. Jimmy in the Washington game. I told you on that, man. We got fortunate. Pigeon Depot says, ouch, more red from last night. Need to dig out. Yes, that under was bad. It was the only move I made in the baseball card, and a disappointing one in the Cardinals Diamondbacks. Pigeon Depot in the house. We'll get that back today. Adam Lastman, Alex Ramirez, perfect rotation, says something like a baby after the Bears. When there's AM, said Jimmy, last 2 days, Titty Sauce being 1-1 both days, and the plus 200 line is cashing. I love your plus 200 lines. Your draws are looking very good. Gio Mercedes, the Mets game killed me, man. Speaking of the Mets game, we'll get to that very soon. We did have a capper come in and say, take the Marlins money line, and that person will be awarded the Vegas Gun Award for capping access. We'll bring that up very shortly. Jermel Wright in the house. We got Abba 78 lost last night's under again. It was as soon as everything started out perfectly, and then that pick six, and you're like, oh great, we're in trouble. Alex Ramirez face V says Nats win both games. Yeah, I mean, who can you're gonna take Blake Parker in openers in that game one, and then Nola, if Nola gets in any trouble, he's going to have to pitch himself out of it because they're going with openers in game one. So, but I don't know if I'm going to make that move. We'll see. We have a big packed show. We have Parley Papi joining us in 15 minutes. 15 minutes after that, we have AntL, star of the Sports Cake. So we're going to be talking baseball for the first 15 minutes of this show. There's you, Chang Yu in the house. Jay McGrath ready to get to work. Jimmy Gomez, his boys hope you followed last night's plays. 4 for 4. Last night, Jays and over, Cards over, and Marlins. Great job, Jimmy Gomez. Jimmy Gomez, a past winner of the Vegas Gun Award for capping excellence. There's Red Girl in the house. Jeremy Williams. Okay, my guy Jeremy Williams has a question. We have talked a bit about that game because we know that Big Boss is liking the over in that spot, but I've copied and pasted that. Jeremy Williams copied and pasted. Unbelievable. Raymond Reichart, Aaron Maybe, Doug Barnhouse. There's Brian Beasley. Brian Beasley in the house representing Compton, California in the house. When Brian Beasley rolling with us said lost on Mets money line, Arizona under, had a good day, Bears team total over, and Chicago -7. Great job. There's Jay Money in the house. Jay Money joining us. Love seeing that. Cobra Sports 609. Avi Gold. Nut Flush Allen. Michael Irvalina. Oh, such a fun show last night. Thank you, Michael Irvalina and Nut Flush Allen. Man, you guys rolling with us. You guys make things so much fun. I mean, your insights and your humor, and you just it's not us on the screen having fun. It's working with you guys, man. What a treat. Princeton City on 16 baseball games. Chris Mickshaw in the house. We got Shadows. Says, how about them Bears? Walla Walla Dose says, morning fan, glad you got that team total under 17. Yes. Breaker said on the show, Allen Robinson over 5 receptions and McLaurin over 54.5 yards. Both cashers. Great job, Bricker. Great job. There's Sebastian Arnold ready to go. Joe Rich Ramirez. All right, what a great group. Let's get to work. And Richie says, what everyone finished on my weekend hitting the Bears -4. Easy winning 9-1 football this weekend. Spectacular. There's Mr. Jocelyn in the house. Says took the first half under, but Ray's first 5 run line was cash. Yeah. And second half under 19.5 cash for all the guys live betting. So Red Girl Mystics -4 and leaning the under. Interesting. We're going to talk a lot about that game 4 of the series. But let's get into baseball, and let's get into baseball as fast as we can. So we have 43 minutes now. 43 minutes. That will be heavy. Yellow G said, Jim, did you eat your steak last night? No, I bounced, man. I bounced. I took off, Yellow Jesus. I took off. Oh, great to see Randy Lockhart in the house. He's looking at WNBA game. Huge. We'll confirm at late show. Oh, I love hearing that. And look at Yellow Jesus, 36-23 in NFL so far. I'm getting killed in NFL early. My worst nightmare, basically, is happening. Well, I guess last year's baseball was my worst nightmare. All right, Phillies Nationals, 77 Fahrenheit clear, 10 miles per hour in. We have Joe Ross. The problem is when you back the Nationals is Joe Ross was completely rolling. He was absolutely rolling. And do you want to trust a favorite this big with Joe Ross coming off the IL? And that's the issue with the game. I don't want to. There has been a 4-cent move towards these Philadelphia Phillies going with the opener and Blake Parker. This total opened up juice to the under 10.5. So there's been an 8-cent move to the over, but still, and Bet Online actually hanging at 10, interestingly enough. Bet Online hanging 10. J Money has a spot here, and J Money, what's the Brewers game under 8.5? Let's cash it. I'm also quite interested in backing Sonny Gray again. Not Flush Allen. So funny. Oh man, Flash was getting laughs last night. Flash was very, very funny. Mally Mal liking Philly and the over in this Parker Ross spot. Mally Mal says Joe Ross is bad. I don't agree with that. He made 5 starts in August, 3-0, 1.05 ERA. Washington won all 5 of those games. They were stretching him out when he had a 9 ERA. We had the experts in the Nationals brass doing the work for us. 2-0, 3.38 ERA, 5 games, 3 starts in his career versus Phillies. Phillies going with the bullpen day. I just don't trust it. Ben Sports 24/7 says Sonny Gray first 5 is played to me. I think you're right. With that, Ben Sports 24/7. Parley Papi has a move on that game. Maybe that's the move. So we'll wait and hear what Parley Papi what he has to say about that Sonny Gray first 5. I don't know what Joe Ross is going to give us. I don't want to take a favorite. I don't also want to take the Phillies bullpen. I just want nothing to do with it. Nasty Nate Bears and under was a good hit last night. Great job. Connor Gricky says, Marge McCaskey said to say hi. Thank you. Nice to hear. Marge McCaskey wants to say hi. Marge, thank you. And hi right back to you. And let's get after it. Marge McCaskey going to give us good vibes here in this baseball card. Mal Mal says, Philly going to smack him around. What's up, Red Girl? I hear you, Mal Mal. But if he pitches anything like he did before that forearm injury, he's been good. And he wasn't out for a long time. He just went on that IL on September 2nd. Rick James said I should be preparing a board meeting. Instead, I'm chilling with the low baggers. Let's make this money today. Respect Rick James in the house. Let's move on to Twins, Tigers, Odorizzi, Turnbull. Magic number at 3 for these Twinkies to win the division. Odorizzi has opened at minus 220, still at minus 220. The over it was a minus 106 to the over. Let's see exactly what this total is doing now. Sorry, let's see what Pinnacle's done with this over. So there has been a 12-cent move towards the under. But I don't want to back Spencer Turnbull. I don't want to. Don Reed says the issue with these last 7 games, lines are super inflated. They don't correlate to the teams, in my opinion. This is weak to tread lightly. I know I'm just thinking about playoffs. I agree. Well put, Don Ricci. Absolutely well put. Brian Beasley, like in Minnesota. Mally Mal says Twins easy. A minus 220. I don't know. 76 Fahrenheit, probably cloudy, 8 miles per hour, sideways at the left. Jake Odorizzi does look good. Brian Beasley said Twinkies are on a mission. They are. They seem to be. They're playing good baseball. They've been rolling despite season-ending injuries from Buxton, ongoing injuries to Kepler and Adrianza. Odorizzi, 2 runs, 5 2/3, 3-1 loss in his last start. Faced the Tigers on September 2nd, no decision, 3 runs in 5 innings. 11 starts against the Tigers, 5-1, 3.25 ERA. And Spencer Turnbull, man, hasn't won since May 31st. Detroit's lost 15 of the last 16 games he started. Ugly. But he gave up 1 run, 5 innings at Cleveland on Wednesday. Wound up with a no decision. And Anthony L says, I might have a play on this game. Okay, beautiful. There's Anthony L, star of the Sports Keg, spectacular MLB capper, who will be joining us shortly. Okay, nice. Turnbull, Mal says Turnbull 5 ERA in Detroit. He gets torched. Very possible. Very, very, very possible. And Red Girl, what's Red Girl on it? Keep an eye on Red Girl's action here. And Ty Clinton says, I'm tailing Red Girl. Comic Greek says, great call on Nats yesterday. All right, let's keep rolling right along. We have Brewers, Reds. So we know that this is going to be a spot on Parley Papi's card. So I'm going to wait and just hear what he has to say. Don Reach says, what are the Twins playing for the next 5 games? They still got to clinch. And there's Dutch Boy Fresh in the house. Jamal Wright said Indians had a horrible lineup against Turnbull. That is true. And the Indians do have Jose Ramirez back in action for that club. So we're going to skip this Brewers red spot and let Papi hit it. Papi will be joining us in 8 minutes. Let's keep rolling. We have Phillies Nationals, Aaron Nola Scherzer game 2. We'll wait to see what happens in game 1 before we make a move there. Then we have Cubs Pirates, Avi Gold like in Twins -2. We got Alex Ramirez in the house. 71 Fahrenheit, mostly cloudy, 5 miles per hour, out to straightaway center in this Cubs-Pirate spot. Kyle Hendricks, 11-9, 3.37 ERA, 1.13 whip. Mitch Keller, 1-5, 7.74 ERA, 1.84 whip. Raymond Reichart says, any play on the early game? Not for me. Not with Blake Parker, Joe Ross. Not for me. I just feel like there's just too much volatility with Joe Ross coming off the IL and a bullpen day from the Phillies. I don't feel comfortable at all. Tom Ricci, tough crowd this morning. Okay, sorry, Tom. It was a late night for me and a very early morning. I did cap all 16 of these MLB games, so I'm a little rusty. There's Antoine Seymour in the house. Anthony Chalmers also joins us. Top of the morning, y'all. Everyone go to the window today. Jimmy, what's popping? Nice to have you, my man. Ben Sports says, I lean Cubs. Don't trust Keller. I get it. I mean, well, I don't hate on Keller. You guys know that I'm kind of high on Keller. But both teams are losing right now and losing faith. Pirates have lost 9 straight. They've just been a mess. They have a ton of injuries. Mouse to me, I don't know why go against Seattle streak or St. Louis streak for 4 straight games on the road. They won and went over for win rate. I was so stressed last night. Yeah, Mal, that was a bad move on the under, and I take full responsibility for it. Cubs awaiting word on Chris Bryant. Hurt his ankle on Sunday. Hendricks, 2-0, 2.74 ERA, 20 strikeouts, 23 innings, 4 starts September. He's looking good. 2.98 ERA, 16 starts against the Pirates. 2.25 ERA, 3 starts against the Pirates this year. And Pittsburgh's lost 9 straight. Outscored 87-26. What a bunch of bumps. Keller 0-4 past 6 starts, but didn't look bad last start. 2 runs, 6 hits, 5 innings, 6-0 loss against Seattle. Keller faced the Cubs once. That was a Little League Classic in Williamsport. Gave up 2 homers, 6 runs, 7 hits, got touched by them. Let's take a look at what we get the Cubbies at right now. This total opened at 9, is now at 8.5. And yeah, it's just a big money line here. If you want the Cubs, there has been a 14-cent move towards these Pirates, but the Cubs are at minus 173. You'd have to take them on the -1 line. Joe Rich Mears says Cubs money line and over 8.5. Cash it. Antoine Seymour says, Jimmy, shout out to me and Dominique. Work getting this cash. You guys are. Antoine Seymour, Dominique Jackson doing big things. Speaking of big things, we are needing to give out our award for capping excellence, and that goes to a longtime lowbagger who made one play in the chat yesterday, and that was Marlins money line at plus 240. That's Shaquille Bell. Shaquille Bell, winner of the Vegas Gun Award for capping excellence. And while we give out the award, let's also give a very special shout out to Vegas Gun, our guy whom we love dearly. So big shout out to our guy, Vegas Gun. Antoine Seymour says Cubs are dead. Red Girl Cubs first 5, minus 125. That's minus a half, I'm sure. Let's see what it is. First 5, minus a half for the Cubs is, oh, wow, minus 107, minus 105. So first half on the money line is minus 175, yeah. And then on the point spread, sorry, I think I hit full game there. Minus 120 or minus 125. Yeah, I guess I see that. Anthony L says you don't have to take the -1. You're right, Anthony L. You could take a team that's lost 5 straight games on the minus 173 on the road if you want. I hear that. Todd Rector says Pirates don't even have an angle to ruin Cubs season. That's all they would have had since they hate the Cubs. Now who cares? I get it, Todd Rector. I mean, I get it. Penn Sports 24/7 says Cubs dead, but bats still hitting. Mally Malik in the Cubs and the under. We have different sides, different ideas on how to handle this game, and we'll see. We'll see what AntL. Maybe AntL is just sitting on the Cubs money line here. Hard to make a move here. We have Lamont Williams coming with a parlay. Cincinnati first 5 run line. Let's get this. And Washington first 5 run line. And I imagine that's game 1. Rashana Yorn says, what do you like about WNBA? Well, we do have some great WNBA cappers in the chat right now, but just for a quick look, because we got to focus on baseball right now, going to spreads and totals here. I really like what I saw of the Aces fighting back, and I think you're getting value on the Aces. I think you're getting value on the Aces on the money line here. I really do. I think that the Aces want to get this back to Washington. You're getting a plus 170 at some books. There has been a 9-cent move towards the Mystics. Do I want to get in front of the Mystics? I don't think I do. I don't think I do. And the overs were trending in Washington. They're not in Vegas. You have to hear what Red Girl, we got Red Girl, we got J Money. See if Ski Profit's in the house. But those are the experts that need to be asked about for WNBA. I'm 32-29 on the season, but I've really been leaning on these guys, on our WNBA experts. All right, let's, and Dom Reach said, just vowed I'll never take a first 5 run line again, ever. Mally Mal liking aces in the over. There's Mally Mal, another great WNBA capper right there. Gerald Martinez, another one too, says, yep, aces. I'll be at the game. They'll tie it up. They play D tonight. The crowd will be raucous. Yeah, I think I guess it could go down to a last-second shot, so maybe it's worth getting the points. Anything under 5, I kind of like taking a big money line, but we'll hear what other cappers have to say. And Mally Mal saying they're going to stretch it for publicity. All right, copying and pasting all that. Here we go. And Red Girl says Ski's on Mystics and he leans the game over. Interesting. Okay. Wow. Okay. Ski's on the Mystics. Well, I definitely don't want to go up against Ski in this spot, but feels like the Aces want to bring this back, man. All right. Dutch Boy Fresh is hard enough to hit one MLB. No parlays unless it's for play. I hear that. Let's just keep rolling. We're going to be joined by our very own Parley Papi here in 2 minutes. So let's keep rolling. What's next on our card? I guess the Cubs would be a lean. I guess the Cubs should have a field day with the Pirates, shouldn't they? We'll hear what AntL has to say about that spot. Then we have Orioles, Jays, Bundy, K. Bundy always good. Bundy always good against these Blue Jays. And Anthony Case looked okay in 14 innings, 13 Ks, 1.43 whip. He's the guy we got in the Stroman deal with the Mets. Orioles hitting 256, 732 OPS versus lefties. Jays 235, 732 OPS versus righties. K won't be in there for too long. Jay Money says Mystics have to end it tonight. Interesting. Brad Hansen says, Jimmy, if you have a chance, can you break down Twins Tigers? We've already talked briefly about the spot, but we'll see if Anthony L or our guy Parley Papi is on it at this point. Ben Sports 24/7 liking the over. I wish I could have got ahead of that big 1-run move towards the over in yesterday's game. That's kept me off because that was huge over yesterday. Jays 10-7 against the Orioles this season. K making his 3rd career start. Got his first win last Thursday at Baltimore. 2 runs, 4 hits, 1 walk, 4 innings of relief. Struck out 3. Bundy 1-0, 2.12 ERA in 3 starts against the Blue Jays this season. He just pitches well against us. 3.13 ERA against them in 14 games. Let's take a look at the market moves here. Baltimore, Toronto. Toronto opening up at minus 145. They're now minus 125. That makes sense to me. Let's see what we get first 5 if we back the dog here. See, we get first 5 on Baltimore. You're getting up to plus 113. Let's see what Bookmaker's done with this. Here we go. Yeah, opened at plus 117, now plus 113. Let's see what Pinnacle's done with this. They opened this up at, plus 128. Huge move towards the Orioles first 5, and that makes sense to me. Bundy's just pitching well. And I would like to make a move on it. Top sets of college football, time-consuming as hell. Just jump into college football. MLB is out to get me. Yeah, MLB's been tough, but I like the Orioles first 5 here. Orioles getting another chance to see K. They can hit lefties. They hit lefties better than Jays are hitting righties. And Bundy just has the Jays number. I'm getting a plus line here. I want to stick with these plus lines. There's B Smooth in the house. All right, for the Orioles, first 5, I am getting plus 113 at Bookmaker. And I'm going to make this move. There's the main man, Lizo, our main man, Lizo, in the house. All right, I'm going to take the Orioles first 5 plus 113. Back Bundy. Bundy just pitches well against these guys. Dutch Boy Fresh says Jimmy Cards run line to the window. Let's bring in our guy, Parley Papi, right now. We did get through a decent amount of games, and Jamal Wright says yesterday's over was a gift. This game, I'm not sure about. Pass me. I feel you, Jamal Wright. Richie says September baseball is the devil. If I'm only going to take plus lines, I hope, unless we get talked into the Cubs. Jin Rummy says, why do people like the Cubs at this price? Doesn't make sense. I guess you would like the Cubs at any price in this spot, huh? I hear you. Very difficult to take the Cubs with the way they're playing on the road at minus 175. Very well put, Jin Rummy. Let's bring in our guy, Parley Papi, in the house. Coming to us live from Los Angeles, California on this Tuesday morning. Parley Papi, how you doing this morning, man?
I am doing absolutely horrible. I just got dumped this morning by the same person for the second time in 2-3 months. I don't know what's going to happen. I'm having a meltdown right now. I'm having a quarter-life crisis. But, hey, Jimmy, we're here. How you doing, my man? How's it going?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm not sleeping. I've barely slept this week. But I got some laughs out in the keg cast, and Papi, come on, we know there's going to be a lot more. I guess getting hit the second time is what's affecting. But let's let baseball put a smile on your face. Let's let baseball take you away from everything else in the world, Papi. What's your first look on this baseball card?
All right, let's look at the Brewers. This is our little money-making team that we have been riding. So looking very comfortable right now in the NL placing, but they got.
All right, we got a frozen Papi. We got a frozen Parley Papi there. Going to Ben Sports 24/7 like in the Brewers under. Let's Papi, stop it. Brewers red 79 Fahrenheit, mostly cloudy, 3 miles per hour, out to right center. Hauser 6-7, 3.83 ERA, 1.29 WHIP. Gray being spectacular, 11-7, 2.80 ERA, 1.09 WHIP. Brewers are hitting 245, 764 OPS versus righties. Reds are hitting 242, 737 OPS versus righties. Brewers are 86-70 and have a run differential of -2. I mean, that's just unbelievable. Shout out to Craig Counsell doing big things. Junior Rummy said, yeah, Brewers plus 125 yesterday, not at plus 100. Not at plus 100. Brewers are 10-2 since Christian Yelich was out with a fractured kneecap. 10-2. Milwaukee starting pitching 2.81 ERA in September. 8th win in 9 outings. They're 17-4 in September. Hauser took his second straight loss on Wednesday. 2 runs, 3 hits, 5 innings, and a 2-1 loss to San Diego. Gray allowed 2 runs on 4 hits, 6 2/3. I don't think this is going to help Papi's day. He started pissed off, and now his computer failing him. This is not good. Not good. Alex Ramirez says a lot of tension last night on the Sport Keg towards the end of the show. Really? Alex Ramirez, I guess I had blackout spots. Alex Ramirez, because I did not know that. Okay, we got Parley Papi back in action. This is not going to help his anger from this morning. So let's just be very kind to our Parley Papi. Parley Papi, what's your plan here, Brewers Reds?
All right, where do we cut off at?
Right at the top. Right at the Brewers Reds top.
Jesus Christ. All right, forget the breakdown. We're taking the first 5 under. I immediately lean towards the Reds because of the spot for the Brewers with Hauser. The thing is, Sonny Gray deals these guys. Hauser, he looks vulnerable, which is why I lean the Reds first. But at the same time, the Reds aren't fucking hitting the damn thing right now. They're abysmal. Sub 200, basically a 200 batting average in the last 10 days, slugging at 326. If they were hitting the ball, I would be taking the Reds here. But at this price, no way. I know Sonny Gray's awesome. Looks like a Cy Young guy. But we're taking the first 5 under 4.5, Jimmy the Bag.
What line did you get it at?
I think we got -115. And I would also vouch for the under 8 at -110.
I like the first 5 under. Again, this is a move where Jin Rummy's shaking his head because it was open at 4.5 at plus 100. Let's see when it did that at Pinnacle here. Opened up at 4.5. Oh, no, it didn't. What do I have not? What the hell? I should have Pinnacle openers. Let me do this again. Pinnacle opener. I thought it says plus 400. Let me just make sure my settings are right. Settings. Pinnacle Sports opener. And then I go to Pinnacle here in the Cincinnati game. It says it opened up plus 100. Oh, sorry. What am I talking? Sorry, I'm looking wrong. It did open up plus 100. Sorry, looking at the wrong thing there. And it's now being a 21-cent move. It's got to make you feel like it's the right side, but can you take it 20 cents? Oh, God.
If that total at 8 is still there for the full game, you got to remember that the Reds bullpen is doing pretty decent right now. That Brewers bullpen has been the best, just bottom line in the last 10 days. So that under 10 at 8, that under 8 at -110, if you expect that first 5 to go under, I'm pretty sure that the full game is going to go under too.
There's 8.5s at other books. 8.5 at other books. You know what? I'm going to stick with the 8.5s here because Bet365 is still hanging at 8.5. I'm not going to take a 20-cent move on the first 5. I'm going to take that full game under 8.5. Full game under 8.5. You're getting -115 at Bookmaker. It's -115 at Bet365. Will Hill too. Pinnacle's already moved it to 8. So I don't think this is going to last long. I might need to bet it right now. Okay, I'm going to take the full game. Oh, we got Ron Crawford spreadsheets All right, I'm taking it right now. I'm going to take the full game under 8.5. Full game under 8.5. Okay, I love it. Papi, what's next?
All right, let's go to Kansas City with the Braves. So the Braves, another team feeling very comfortable in the NL. I mean, Tehran, his control with that sinker-slider combo looks pretty off. 5 home runs in the last 2 games. But he's seen this KC team before, and he diced them up. 0 earned runs in the 6 innings he pitched. But that was at home. Here's the thing. This is why this is a buy-on guy. The numbers between Julio Tehran on the road and at home are extremely similar. That shows me consistency. Despite him giving up a couple more home runs away from home, I mean, that's probably going to happen. The numbers are very similar. So I want to see him come back to where we know he can be at, that consistent starter. So with that being said, we have the opposing pitcher, Duffy, who's looking amazing as of late, pitching 1.78 ERA. Opponents batting 170 average across the 4 starts, only 15 hits allowed, 20 strikeouts, 25 innings. The guy is doing really well. This is Kansas City's best pitcher right now. And he also struck out 11 Braves in that last time versus them, I believe, visiting them this year. So to be honest, Kansas City is playing, to win. They're not throwing in the towel like a lot of these other teams. And when they lose, they're not losing so much by significant margins unless it's by like a bullpen blow up. And that's due to the pitching department here. It's doing pretty well. So what I immediately leaned to again was the first 5 for Kansas for a little bit of a score at plus 150. I just don't trust them to hit Tehran. I actually just want to take this first 5.5 under here because we have no Freddie Freeman in the lineup for Atlanta. Danby Swanson not hitting a damn thing in the world. No modesty on KC, some base stealing, that's their guy. And, 2 teams are hitting around the 700 OPS mark in the last 10 days. Why don't I take this first 5 under Jimmy, or 5.5 Jimmy the Bag? Let's get on that.
Yeah, I wonder why it moved from 5 to 5.5. That's scary.
It was at 5. It is at 5 at plus 100, I believe. But then I see another 5.5.
Yeah, Pinnacle.
And that's pretty much been there.
Pinnacle opened it at 5, and then this morning moved it to 5.5 at 7:30 my. So 2 hours ago. That's uncomfortable. I know. I like what you're saying. Just the market's probably going to keep me off. Also, Ragu liking the Royals first 5. Duffy's just been rolling. And
see, that was my lean, right? I wanted to get a little bit of a score, but do we trust these bats to actually do stuff to Tehran? That's the question. If you think it's going to be really close, maybe just take the plus a half. It may be minus or plus 100. I don't see that there's enough advantage in the department of hitting versus Tehran of the Royals, who he's dealt before, for me to be on that side and realistically think I'm going to win that bet.
Man, Ben Sports 24/7 says Duffy will get touched today. 12 straight scoreless innings. All he did was move to the first base side of the pitching rubber. It's just nuts when that works so well for these veterans. It just doesn't make sense. Tehran, very good numbers against KC. You know what? The market's going to keep me off right now. I'm just going to let the market keep me off, but it makes sense. Your breakdown makes sense. But I'm just going to let the market.
So why would it move? That's the question that we need to ask ourselves if we're really going to take that into consideration when it's so heavy. I mean, we're just straight advantage betting here, or are we handicapping a game? If we're missing something, we're missing something. But what could it be?
10 miles per hour out to left center. Braves smash lefties, 257, 790. You made a great point with Freeman not being in the lineup.
How are those lefty numbers now in the last 3 weeks? They're not the same.
They're not the same. I mean? No, you're absolutely right. And their overall numbers used to be way over 800. Yeah, man.
No Freeman, no Swanson's not hitting anything. If we're going to cap like that, that's how we're going to cap.
I know. I hear you, man. And I like it. I like your being adamant about this spot, man. I respect it. I'm just not going to make a move. I need a little bit more time here in this Braves Royal spot. I need to wrap my head around why it's gone from 5 to 5.5 at Pinnacle. But I hear it. I hear everything that you're saying. What's your next look on the card?
I broke down the game. It was real difficult to find spots, but I definitely have a look on everything, just kind of leaning a certain way. So if you want to talk about anything you didn't touch on, let me know. I do actually like this Yankees spot for this game. I think that if Sessa is pitching, I think it's going to be Sessa or Guerin is the opener for the Yankees. And let's look at it like this. Cess has been pretty good, but when they do these bullpen days, it usually doesn't work out so well for the Yankees. And we have Cheniers coming back from that injury, right? He had something wrong with his finger, and he's been abused by this Yankees lineup. So the Yankees still, they need home field advantage, right? They should still be winning some of these games. I think they have to play another good team before the end of the season. So I was looking at it over here, and that was my immediate lean. And a couple other spots, let me know if there's something you want to touch on.
Why don't we let's look at some other spots that do look appealing here. What do you think about this Red Sox Rangers spot? Eduardo Rodriguez pitching so well. 1 ERA over his past 7 starts. Seems like they want to get him wins here. And then we have the Volquez-Jurado combination, which is just awful. Jurado has a 9.23 ERA over his past 7 outings. Let's take a look. Do you want to trust the Red Sox team as a big favorite at home? I don't know if I want to here, but they just seem to play for Volquez. We're going to full game money lines and totals here. Sportsbookreview.com. And Boston opens up at minus 189. They're 7 cent move towards them at minus 196. And this total is at 11. What do you think about this spot, Papi?
Man, we always talk about this Rodriguez guy. I feel like when I'm on here, to say the least, he is the guy. He's the catalyst for this team. I don't know how much I trust the Red Sox. I can't believe Volquez is still pitching. Jesus. But this guy's got to be like 40 years old. I think the Red Sox is the only look. We just talked about how bad Jurado is, in Texas at home versus a lefty pitcher who's in gigantic form. 1 ERA in the last 7 games? This is crazy. I think Rodriguez is the only way to look at it. And I do think that the Red Sox are still playing baseball at the end of the day. You're still playing a game, and they should absolutely smash this Texas style, like Volquez-Jurado combo out here.
Yeah, you're right. How would we trust this Red Sox team? It just feels like they step up for one guy, and that being Eduardo Rodriguez. But I do not want to sit here with a bunch of favorites.
I couldn't. That's what I'm saying. It's like I couldn't make a case to. I can make a case to bet the Red Sox. I just can't do it.
All right, let's take a look at other spots that we haven't touched on. How about Marlins, Mets, Alcantara, Syndergaard? I was expecting Syndergaard to have a very good start when Callaway agreed that Ramos wasn't going to be his catcher, and that was in Colorado, and he had an okay start. I mean, it was 4 runs, 5 2/3 in Colorado. It's not. I wanted more. He's 7-1 with a 1.83 ERA and 10 career starts against the Marlins, and Alcantara gave up 4 earned runs in his last start against the Diamondbacks after looking very good. 2.82 ERA and 7 starts against the Mets this year. Marlins, Mets. Let's take a quick look at the spot here. The total's at 8. And the Mets have taken 35 cents to minus 265. You have a move there?
Yeah, we actually had Alcantara last week, I believe. That was just such a strange spot. I can't believe how abused he got. The thing is, Syndergaard, if there's a spot for him to get right, it is right now. I can't do anything with that line. At the same time, maybe throw it in some type of weird parlay. But, I mean, Alcantara, after that last start, do we feel like maybe he's might be on his last string here with the season and just he's been working, you know what I mean? I can see both of them actually doing really well, but I can also see a blow up from Alcantara. I can't really see Syndergaard not being able to bounce back against a team that he has great history against, number one. Number two, the Marlins as a whole in Citi Field just are not doing the job except winning last night. And number 3, the fact is these guys don't hit Syndergaard, and I don't know if there's any other way to look at it. I mean, if you want to throw a dart, try the Marlins, but there's not really much value. I don't know if this game might fly over or stay very conservative due to the fact that Alcantara is a complete wild card for me after seeing what happened in Arizona to him.
Yeah, that was a disappointing spot because the full game ended up pushing the total, but lost the. Look at Dom Ricci, over. Mets team total over, Miami over. Wow. And he's also saying that he thinks that Noah wants out of New York. And there's Matt Randall leaning Twins, Tigers also. So do we have the Taint play today out there? Leaning Atlanta, KC under 9.5. I got to figure out what Matt Randall's action is. Wow. Okay. Wow, Dom Ricci over. What do you think about Dom loving the over here?
Dom knows this team better than me, right? And if he's saying that Noah Syndergaard wants out, I think a good spot to do it would be getting smashed by the Marlins and just kind of freestyling his stuff a little bit, trying some adventurous new pitches. Alcantara is not somebody I trust at all. This Marlins bullpen is pretty bad we just saw him give up that grand slam yesterday to the Mets, right? So I think that that's actually probably the side. If we're going to angle for something, I think I'm overreaching, but if Dom's on it, it's definitely a good look.
Yeah, I'm gonna need a little bit more time here on these spots. Wow, that throws me for a bit of a loop. Nas Nate says Mets score first. All right, I like it. What a treat it is to roll with Parley Papi here Tuesday and Wednesday mornings. Parley Papi, could you review your plays and let us know where we can find you on Twitter?
All right, so we're going to go straight to that. Brewers under 4.5, first 5, and then we're going to go KC under 5.5 for the first 5. And you can always find me at Poppy_parlay. And, my feelings are very hurt, Jimmy. I will probably be out in the streets of Long Beach looking for one very, very unfortunate and unlucky female to take on all my personal insecurities and emotional damage tonight, Jimmy. So I don't know how I'm going to be feeling tomorrow, but we'll see, Jimmy. But we're going to cash the Bucks. When a little bit of a heater here. Let's go. Let's get it done. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace out. Bye-bye.
Oh, I love it. There he is, Parley Papi. And if it does go down tonight and it's horrific, please film as much as possible and send it in to us. Okay, let's move on from Parley Papi over to my guy, AntL, star of the Sports Cake. I had the honor of hanging with him for 4 hours last night while we watched the Monday Nighter. Great call on the second half, under 19.5. And you had some great prop bets as well. It was just a lot of fun hanging with you all night. How you doing on this Tuesday morning, AntL?
Hungover. Are you? Holy crap. How many beers did I go through on that show?
Yes. Yeah, we fought the good fight. It was very enjoyable hanging, man. Very, very enjoyable hanging. But let's get to work and let's get the money flowing. You've had a spectacular season in MLB. Have you been slowing down the quantity of action?
Yes. I've been probably betting about 2 games a day throughout September. And there's been a few days when I haven't even taken shots because it's just September baseball. The volatility's higher. The motivation, you got tanking teams. I mean, the players aren't trying to tank, but, they're not putting out great lineups because they're terrible. And then you got the teams who are fighting for final division spots. So you get inflated lines. So you got to pick your spots a little bit better in September baseball. For example, today, 16 games, and I only have 4 plays, which is one of the higher volume plays that I've had during the month. But, in May, I might have 8.
Oh, I'm excited. You got 4 plays. That's great. Okay, what's the first play on your card?
All right, we'll skip the first one because Poppy's already on it. I am on the under 8.5 in the Reds game. I took it last night. I think you can still get an 8 at even money, but I got under 8.5 at -110. So I'm in agreement with his breakdown there. I like the under in that Reds Brewers. Moving on to the Braves Royals. I think this is the one spot where I like a dog. I think the Royals have a pretty decent shot here. The Braves have already clinched the division, and they're not getting home field advantage. They're not catching the Dodgers for best record in the National League. So the Braves are locked into the 2 seed in the National League. So they literally have nothing to play for. Dylan Duffy's been really good over the last several starts. You guys threw his you guys got his numbers up there over his he's on a hot run here. And over the last 2 weeks, when you got all these extra call-ups and stuff, when you look at their offenses, they're dead even. Normally you think, wow, the Royals offense is terrible. The Braves offense has been really good. There's a huge offensive disadvantage here for the Royals. But over the last 2 weeks, when we have all these mixing and matching with September call-ups, they're within a couple of numbers of each other on every major category, and they both have a 95 WRC+. So you have dead even offenses, and you have 2 pitchers who are about the same, in my opinion. Tehran's advanced numbers are the exact same as Duffy's advanced numbers. I mean, neither one of them's that great, but Duffy's a hotter starting pitcher right now. So I'm taking that plus money on the first 5, taking the bullpens out of it, don't want that variance. I got the Royals at plus 160, and I think the number's coming down. So you guys got to hit that now if you want to back the Royals train. They're my favorite underdog of the day.
Wow, great timing on the plus 160 because it actually opened at plus 130 at Pinnacle. But then it starts creeping up this morning. And then look at this, at an hour and 25 minutes ago, it got up to plus 164, plus 161. And then money started coming back on the Royals at plus 142. That makes just a ton of sense. It just makes a ton of sense. This is already something that Ragu likes. Why not here? Why not? Big Roo says, Ant has my same play. Also, this was a play where in the chat we had Gin Rummy approving it. Now, it depends where you get it at, though. You got it at that perfect time. That absolute perfect timing. Great move there doing that.
I bet it about an hour ago when I was breaking down my notes for you.
What a perfect...
I'm like, holy crap, 160. Bang.
It's dropping fast. I'm going to jump with you guys. I'm getting plus 148 at Bookmaker. It's better than what it started at. Comic Ricky just got it at plus 150. All right, I'm jumping with you. I'm tailing this. I'm going first five Royals. First five at plus 148. All right, beautiful. I love their C favors in the house. Pigeon Depot says, I'm fully in on Royals. Love it. Okay, what's next?
All right, this next one, it's a super chalky play, but it's a chalky play for a reason. I'm on the Indians' first 5 run line today. Clevenger is a top 5 starting pitcher in the league. I actually have him ranked number 5 in my starting pitcher index. Santiago blows. The White Sox blow. The Indians have everything to play for here. They're a half game back of the wild card, and the Twins have not clinched the division yet. So in theory, the Indians can still win the division. I mean, they're not, but until the Twins clinch, the Indians still have that hope. But they're still only a half game back of the Rays. The Indians have everything to fight here, and they have a much better starting pitching matchup, a much better team. And I laid the lumber on this first 5 run line with Clevenger. I know it's a massively juicy price, but I took it at minus 155. It's up to minus 160. It's going to still keep getting steamed. I know a lot of people are allergic to that kind of chalk, but I'm not, and I laid the wood.
Well, great job getting it where you did. You know what? In all honesty, at this first 5 at minus 155, I would take right now if that was available. So I think I think your card's very good, and this is another perfect example of it. Now, I'm not going to take it at minus 165 or minus 170. I'm not going to. But man, it makes perfect sense. You got in at the right time. Clevenger is a stud. You have Jose Ramirez back in the lineup too. That's going to spark this team. Clevenger in his last 14 second half starts, 10-1, 2.02 ERA. I think it's great. I really do. I really think this is a nice look for you. But I'm not going to take it at minus 160. Well, is it minus 160? You got it at 155?
Yeah, I got it at 155.
5 dimes hanging it at minus 160, so it's not a bad look. I just want to see what my book is hanging this at right now. Because you're right. I mean, Cleveland needs this so bad. They need it so bad. Is what, Hector Santiago going to get in the way here? I find that very difficult. No. Very difficult to believe.
That guy sucks.
Okay, first 5 innings line here. Minus 180 at my book. Wow. Okay. The minus 160 at 5 dimes, it does make, I'm going to take it here. I don't know if I'm going to bet it at minus 180, but at minus 160, that's close to getting what you got, and that's available at 5 dimes. First 5 minus half, minus 160. Okay. Okay, let's keep rolling. What's next?
All right, I got 2 more games, so real quick. Cardinals and Diamondbacks, Flaherty and Leak. Cardinals are hot and rolling. Leak's average. Flaherty has Cy Young potential, so keeping it simple here on the breakdown. I got the Cardinals first 5 run line minus 130.
Cardinals first 5 run line minus 130 against the Leak. That makes sense. Leak's numbers are getting a little bit better. He's still allowed 40 homers.
They couldn't get worse.
Yeah, but I still don't trust this Cards offense, even though they woke up last night. I get this play. This play makes a ton of sense. But Leak does and he's got this history. He spent 2 years with St. Louis, had 4.46 ERA there. Went 7 2/3 scoreless against St. Louis on July 3rd when he was with Seattle. He does scare me a tiny bit. Guru's on cards, first 5 -half, -120. Flaherty's going to be spectacular. He's just been so good of late. Wow, look at some of these numbers. He's 6-3 with a 1.07 ERA in 14 starts. Wow, last 14 starts. That's impressive. I get that move makes sense. What's the final look on your card?
All right, so I might take a lot of heat for this one, but so we got the Twins versus the Tigers. You got Odorizzi versus Turnbull. Odorizzi got 3.59 ERA, 3.44 FIP, and 1.24 WHIP. The Turnbull has 4.66 ERA, 4.12 FIP, 1.47 WHIP. Turnbull's not that good. We all know that. And Odorizzi's been very good this year, actually. Not Cy Young potential or anything like that, but Odorizzi's been fantastic. His strikeouts have gone way up this season, which I think is attributed a lot towards his lowered ERA. The Twins' offense versus the Tigers' offense is hysterical. It's hysterical, the canyon-sized discrepancy between these two offenses. I know people don't like to do this. I do it on occasion. I don't give them out on the show, but for this one time, I will, and I laid the money line, -220.
-220, wow.
I know people. I know that's why I don't give them out on the show. I do it every now and again. Every couple of weeks I'll lay a big -200 money line, and I know people don't like laying that kind of chalk, so I keep those plays to myself on the show. But last Tuesday of the Major League Baseball season, I thought I'd finally just throw that out there for everybody. Do with it what you will, but I'm on the Twins money line.
Yeah, I'm going to stay off of it because I don't think Turnbull's as bad as he's looked lately, but I get, you're going after a winner, and that's the move here. Let's go. We have a couple more minutes here. Teddy's going to be a couple minutes. So we have Stat Guap and a bunch of people asking about this morning game, Phillies Nationals, Parker Ross, asking about totals or sides. I don't want to make a move on this. I think there's a lot of volatility with this opening, bunch of openers for Phillies. I would lean to the over 10.5, but it's 10 miles per hour in. It's a morning game, so I'm not going to take that. Do you have any lean in this morning game, Phillies Nats?
I have a lean towards the Nationals, but I'm not really interested in laying that number with Ross. But I think that's the winning side. But yeah. I'm off of it.
Yeah, I'm going to be off of it too. What do you think about? Okay, well, while I have you, can I pitch a couple more games too? Because we've done a pretty good job getting through a lot of these games. We haven't touched all of the late games. Let me get to them right now. Hoffman Bumgarner. Hoffman looked better in his last start, and he probably pitches well here in Giants Stadium in Oracle Park. This total opened up at 7.5. It's gone up to 8. And let's see money line here with this Giants spot. Bumgarner opens up at -169, now -167. 2-cent move towards the Rockies. What do you think? This is Bumgarner's second last start of the season. Do you have any lean here in this Rockies-Giants look?
I don't ever like taking the Rockies on the road, so I'm not interested in their money line. I'm not interested in laying that kind of price with the Giants because they're not that good of a team. But I did look at this game. I eventually passed, but I was pretty close to taking the under. So if people want to look at that, that's the way I was looking at on this game. But I eventually passed. But it was close. It was pretty close. I almost took it.
Interesting. And then what do you think about Homer Bailey? He's been on such a great run. He's coming off that great start, shutting out Kansas City. Struck out 11, walked 1, 3 hits in 7 innings. He's 4-0 with a 1.88 ERA in his past 7 starts. And the A's smash lefties. Question is, do you want a big road favorite here in September? I don't. -200, it opens now -215. And this total was juiced to the under. It's now juiced to the over 9.5. You have any feel on this A's-Angel spot?
My feel is I was able to take Homer Bailey a few times when he was with the Royals, but since he went to the A's, who the hell wants to bet Homer Bailey at like -200? I get it. The A's are a significantly better team than the Angels. The A's have more to play for than the Angels. The Angels just want to hit the golf course. But still, when you say that out loud, -220, Homer Bailey, So I have no interest in this game either. I also have no faith that the Angels give a flying crap either. So it's just a complete pass for me. I took one glance at the line and then didn't even break the game down because I knew I wasn't going to play it.
I hear that. I hear that. Yeah, it's who wants Bailey at this price? No matter how well he's pitching, and as a road team.
The interesting game tonight, the Astros versus the Mariners.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that because you've had a good read on Cole. We've already seen a 60-cent move towards these Astros. They're at minus 443, and Dunn is a real prospect. I mean, this kid can pitch.
I want to know if I learned my lesson from the last time Garrett Cole pitched against the Mariners a few weeks back, and I bet on Mariners plus like 360 or something. I had like a ridiculously high money line on the Mariners, and then they lost 21-1. So did I learn my lesson? I'm not sure, but I did break down Justin Dunn. He has really good numbers in Double-A this year. I don't know how those are going to translate against the best offense in the major leagues, but I mean, is he good enough to keep the Astros down a bit? I have no idea. There's so much variance in this game. I actually looked at this game two different ways. Either the Mariners plus 2.5 runs. That I think I saw like plus 130 or plus 125. You guys can check your books to see. There's some value there. I mean, you're getting plus 2.5 runs on a home team at plus money. That's always value. I mean, they might get completely destroyed, 10-1. But still, I mean, you're getting plus money with 2.5 runs. I mean, you can't really argue against that. I also looked at, do I want to take the bait on the Mariners team total? It's so low, and it's not juiced. Normally when you see a 2.5 on a team total, it's juiced to the over, like minus 140, something stupid like that. I was looking at, on my bookies paperhead, minus 110 on an over 2.5. I mean, I get it. It's Cole. I get it. It's the Mariners. But, man, everything in my brain is telling me, how do I not take an over 2.5 at minus 110? So I haven't made a play on this game yet, but those were two looks on the Mariners I was peeking at. It's just maybe I'm just still heartbroken because I got completely destroyed by fading Cole with the Mariners last time out.
Yeah. Those both are interesting. It's over 2.5 and minus 120 at Heritage. Wow. You know what? I find both of those looks very, very, very interesting. Very, very interesting. So Mariners at plus 2.5 or the team total over 2.5. All right, I'm going to take some more time on both of those. Those are very, very good looks. Absolutely great stuff from our AntL, our MLB expert. There's Ziggy Balls in the house. Ziggy Balls says, stay away game. Great to see you, Ziggy Balls. Miss you, man. Great stuff from our guy, AntL. And could you review your picks, your 4 spots on the card, and then let us know where we could find you on Twitter and tell us a little bit about the sports keg?
All right. Royals first 5 money line. I grabbed it at plus 160. I think you could still get like a plus 150 out there. The Indians first 5 run line. I got up minus 155. I believe Jimmy said you could still get minus 160 on the Indians first 5 run line. The Cardinals first 5 run line minus 130. And if you want to have big balls and lay the wood, I did take Jake Odorizzi and the Twins minus 220.
Minus 220. Well, winners are winners, and you've done a lot of that this year. You have. So great stuff, AntL. Thank you so much. Oh, but sorry, hit me with your Twitter handle and just give us a brief little, just talk about Sports Keg for a bit.
All right. AntL_SportsKeg on Twitter. You can find us on YouTube channel, the Sports Keg YouTube channel. We do live betting almost every single night. We try to live bet the card, break it down. I think we're up about 300 units in the 8 months we've started the show. We had our debut last night with Jimmy and Flash on breaking down the Monday night card. It was a bit of a mixed bag, but not every day you can come out way ahead. So find us there at the Sports Keg YouTube channel. Find me at Twitter, AntL_SportsKeg.
I love it. AntL, thank you for joining us, my friend. Enjoy your Tuesday, and can't wait to see you here on the show next week.
Akron -6 against UMass.
Akron -6 against... Man, UMass just looks so bad.
The shitbag play of the week. Second worst team versus the worst team.
Akron
You're never
-6.
going to be able to... You're never going to be able to fade UMass with only less than a touchdown for the rest of the season.
I like it. I absolutely like it. There he is. AntL dropping a little Akron -6. And he had some great looks last week. He was on USC money line and plus the points against Utah. His great looks there. Have a great day, my friend, and we'll talk soon.
Thanks.
There he is. There he is. DX5 says it was a bit of a drunk bag, mixed bag, drunk bag. It was a lot of fun last night hanging with everybody on that live betting show. All right, here we go. We are going from AntL. What a great show. Parley Papi to AntL, and now Teddy Covers in the house representing Las Vegas, Nevada here every morning on Betting with the Bag. Teddy Covers, how are you doing on this Tuesday morning?
I'm doing all right, Jimmy. Did you have fun watching the game last night? What were you doing? You have a couple of brewskis?
Yeah, I had a couple of brewskis. We had our Tonya, our Nicaraguan beer that I love very much, and
Nice.
hammered the Jameson pretty hard, and we did a live betcast on the Monday nighter, and it was the kind of game that you would fall asleep watching unless you were all together having fun. So we enjoyed it immensely. I enjoyed it very, very, very much. All right, Teddy Covers, are you doing anything on this MLB card?
I didn't even look at it in a serious way. The last week of the season, I'm not going to put my time into baseball, just like week 17 of the NFL. Something jumps at me, I'm interested. Otherwise, there's a lot of randomness, and especially with all these games between playoff contenders and non-playoff contenders, I don't know what the lineups are. So it's an issue, are they playing real players? It's an issue. I don't do much with MLB this last week of the regular season. Next week, I'm all in on MLB. I'll have opinions every day. This week, you're going to get next to nothing from me in baseball. So I apologize in advance, but I'm going to put my time in where I think I can make money. And the last week of the MLB season is not a time where I think I can make a whole lot of money.
Oh, no doubt about it. No doubt about it. And we have questions already rolling in and looks that I want to go over. Also, I had both Big Ragu and DJ Big Boss on our late show yesterday, so they've given some early looks that they like. So we've got a lot to do, and I'm ready to fire away. Let's let our guy Chris Sanitate. Chris Sanitate in the house says, hey, Jimmy, can you ask Teddy about SMU and the BYU game over 60.5? Why don't we start with our guy Chris Sanitate? What are you thinking?
So SMU's not playing BYU.
No, those are two different games. The SMU
okay.
and the BYU game over 60.5.
So I certainly wouldn't talk you out of the BYU over. That's one that makes sense to me. When we think about how BYU is going to match up against even a quality squad from the MAC, we can anticipate the Cougars to have some success on the offensive line. They're big. They're really big. We're talking about 23, 24-year-olds on BYU's offensive line playing against a little bit undersized, 19 and 20-year-olds on Toledo's defensive line. So I think the Cougs have a chance to score points here. They're not an over team in general. This is a matchup that works in their favor. And Toledo's offense isn't half bad, So I would lean over in that ball game. SMU this week, we're in a totally different role. They're off a huge win, an upset win over TCU, and now they're laying points. And that's, when you have this, the flip, where they're a big dog, pull the upset, now they're chalk. I tend to be reluctant in those spots. I'm not really looking at the SMU side this week.
Neither am I. And we cashed on SMU last week. It was a great, great spot. This just has letdown of some kind written all over it. So I agree with that look. Okay, we have questions coming in. Another question I'm going to drop that was asked at the very beginning of the show, and I copied and pasted it from our guy, Jeremy Williams. Says, hey, Bag, ask Teddy about South Carolina -2 versus Kentucky. We talked about interest in the over yesterday, but what do you think about South Carolina -2? And then finally, UAB -3 versus Western Kentucky, and UAB coming off a very strong showing last week. So South Carolina -2, UAB -3 from Jeremy Williams.
So I'm looking at the Kentucky side in the South Carolina game. What have we liked from the Gamecocks so far? That defense hasn't shown me anything yet. You got a Frosh QB going up against a good defense, and I know Helinski's been throwing the football around with some success. But Kentucky's been a good technical dog. They're certainly the type of defense that I'm interested at catching points. And I think they're a little bit better than South Carolina. And the point spread says they're better than South Carolina, with the Gamecocks not even laying a field goal at home. So my lean there is towards Kentucky. The other game was which? It was another game
UAB -3 versus Western Kentucky.
Oh, yeah. UAB. So I said it last week. I'm going to say it again with less certainty. I think UAB is a fade. All right. I think UAB moving forward to the fate, and they've been able to feast on some weak teams so far. But when you talk about a squad that lost everything from last year, not their coach, and that's, I think it's really helped them early on against the lesser foes. But the Blazers are a team that I've had circled all year saying, wait for your spots to bet against UAB. Wait for your spots to bet against UAB. When they step up in class, they're going to have a problem. West Kentucky's got to step up in class, but I think UAB is the overvalued commodity right now from a talent standpoint. They're not as good as the team they're laying points to.
That's a very interesting breakdown there on UAB. A lot of the guys in our Miami chat were all over UAB in that spot last week. UAB -3 versus Western Kentucky, and liking the Kentucky side against South Carolina as a lean early in the week. Okay, great stuff. So if you guys got questions for Teddy, bring them in, and we're getting them coming. So I'm gonna as soon as the questions sort of slow down, I'm gonna start hammering Ragu and Big Boss's action to see what you like. But we have questions coming in. We have Christopher Commentini says, can you ask Teddy about Liberty, New Mexico?
You can ask me about it. I'm not going to give you a strong take. I know this. I ain't laying a touchdown with Liberty. And I know this. I don't want New Mexico traveling halfway across the country after facing their arch rival in a wild game last week that they finally won one. It's a team I'm not excited about laying points with, and it's a team I'm not excited about taking points with. Maybe you make a case for the over. But again, it's not anything that stands out to me.
Nothing that stands out. Okay, we got questions rolling in. Some very interesting stuff coming in from the chat, too. Shout out to our guy Damon in the house. Getting some very interesting stuff. Astute Chaos just giving out his action on this soccer card. Okay, so we're rolling. I got Anthony L. Anthony L., just a great friend of the show and a great capper. He has a question, and it was what he ended his segment with. And I have copied and pasted all your questions, just going out of order here. Going to hook up our guy Ant. He likes Akron and thinks that you're never going to get a -6 against UMass all year long. And he wants to know, what do you think about that look?
So, in general, I do my best to avoid playing the very worst teams in college football, in any sport, but in college football in particular. So, when you're talking about laying points with one of the very worst teams in college football, you're not going to get me to the window. I understand how bad UMass is. I also know that UMass is looking at this game and, hey, this is one maybe we can win. Does Akron know anything about how to hold the lead? If they're up 2 touchdowns in the fourth quarter, you feeling good about Akron's ability to run out the clock? Not me. Not even a little bit. So, I mean, games like this are easy ones for me. They're like that. Are you going to lay the 2-something on the road with Homer Bailey today? You look at it for 2 minutes, you say, I'm not doing anything with this game, and you leave it alone. So for me, that was a very easy handicap. I don't want the favorite. I don't want the dog. I leave it alone.
Leaving it alone. Okay, I'm doing a lot of copying and pasting here. I got perfect rotation. I got Yu Chang Yu. Got all of this stuff here. Okay, we're going to move on to Brody. Brody in the house says, Teddy, what do you think about the Cal Bears at home against the Sun Devils -4.5? And I know we spoke on this yesterday, and we also spoke about this on the Late Show. So I'm going to hear what Teddy has to say and then let you know what Ragu has to say about this spot. It says, I understand Cal has a tremendous defense, but I don't trust that offense. Brody's leaning under 41 and ASU +4.5. Okay, so I'll just let you know, Ragu is also liking Arizona State here as a dog. Teddy Covers, Brody's leaning to the under 41 and Arizona State at +4.5.
I like the side better than the total. And it's not like I think this is going to be a shootout, but once you start getting into the low 40s / high 30 college football, I don't play unders there. I just don't. And we saw, Cal miss Ole Miss last week when they got to 48. And in that game, Gabrish was better than I thought he was going to be. So offensively, Cal may be improving by a notch or two. All that being said, look at what Herm Edwards has done as a dog at Arizona State. Look at Arizona State's road games since he got there. They haven't lost a road game by more than a touchdown. They played a bunch of them. Defensively, this is a solid squad, and they're coming off a nice little, I like the team coming off the slap in the face last week. Oh, we got all high and mighty. We were a top 25 squad. Oh, we lost straight up. I like teams like Arizona State in this spot. and I don't like teams like Cal in this spot. Sun Devils are pass for me, and that's one that I will probably get to the betting window with. It's one I like a fair bit.
There's some looks I'm about to jump in on, and hearing all three of you guys on the dog there is extremely appealing to me. And knowing the injury situation for the Rutgers quarterback makes me want to jump on Michigan now before we see 28s. And I haven't looked in the last 2 hours, so hopefully they're not there already. Okay, we got questions coming in, and we are rolling. Next up, Rod Zawacki says, what does Teddy think about San Jose State versus Air Force? I am leaning San Jose. This is Rod. Rod Zawacki is leaning San Jose State plus 19. Teddy Covers, what do you think of that look from Rod Zawacki?
So, by the way, Michigan's still 27.5 at most books right now. I just checked. The line hasn't popped this morning up towards the Wolverines. When it comes to San Jose State Air Force, I talked about the two most surprising final scores for me last week were Oregon scoring 21 points and covering against Stanford, and San Jose winning straight up at Arkansas. So when it's like the most surprising final score of the weekend for me, that's a team I'm like, I don't have a good read on that team. When I'm like that, I didn't see San Jose going there and winning the game, and maybe it's Arkansas, but I didn't think San Jose was capable of doing that. And the fact that they were makes me do two things. One, I got to reassess San Jose. And was it all Arkansas just stinking, or was it, hey, is there something about this San Jose squad that maybe we got a little buy sign on right now, especially at plus 19? So you want to re-examine your team. And you also, the other thing that I want to do in this spot is that's not a team I'm going to get involved with the next week. When I'm shocked, how the hell did that happen? All right, reassess, see what happens moving forward, and then this is a team that can come back into your betting repertoire. So I'm not going to play this game. I don't know I think it's a bad defensive matchup for San Jose. I think Air Force is likely to create a whole lot of big plays in this game. So that concerns me about the Spartans plus this week. I haven't seen anything how they're handling the victory over an SEC school. That's certainly worth noting. You want to look at the local paper to see, what are the comments, what are the coaches' quotes. If they're still high from last week, that concerns me here.
Yeah, I agree with that breakdown completely, and that will be a stay off game. Even though we have some guys in our chat that were on it, Rod Zawacki on San Jose State last week. I stayed off of it, but I'm going to stay off of it again. Okay, we have two questions coming. First, Yu Cheng Yu says, did Teddy talk about Maryland, Penn State? And Perfect Rotation said, ask Teddy, I know the trends lean toward Maryland at home. But Penn State is just purely more talented. Are you getting closer to making a move on either? Because we already heard Big Boss liking Penn State.
So, I mean, the trends, Maryland's been real good at home. No question about it. Penn State's been good everywhere. They have a strong home field in Happy Valley. They've been good road chalk in the Franklin era. Franklin's a coach who knows what the point spread is and tries to cover it. And there aren't many of those guys out there. He was a money winner was it Vandy? And now he's been a money winner here, obviously. Or no, it wasn't Vandy. It was, where the hell was he before he got to Penn State? Was it Vandy or was it Wake? Why am I losing my mind? It's one of these Tuesday morning dealios. Sorry. I'm supposed to know where Franklin's from, and I'm just having, yeah, it was Vandy. Because you're like, why would they leave an SEC school to go to a Big Ten school? But because it was Penn State versus Vandy. But the bottom line for Penn State, they are more talented than Maryland. They're more talented on both sides of the football. They've had a fair bit of success in this series. These are, a recruiting issue, where these two schools both recruit the same grounds, and Franklin has not taken it easy on Maryland as a result of that. It's not a home dog I'm interested in. I'll just leave it at that. It'd be the favorite or pass for me.
Favorite or pass. Okay, we've got good stuff coming here. Casano Magic. Our guy Casano Magic says, Jimmy, can you ask Teddy about Cincinnati -3 at Marshall?
My gut reaction there is looking at Marshall plus and not Cincinnati minus. It's not a Bearcats offense that is going to be able to move the ball up and down the field against the better teams that they face. We've seen that a couple times already from Cincinnati. It's pedestrian offensively. Their strength's on the defense side of the football. I think Marshall's good enough to score points, against that Cincy defense. I know they didn't get the job done in Boise. They got the money in Boise, though, in a competitive game. The offense didn't move the ball up and down the field, but They faced a quality defense. They've done it on the highway. And now I think they have a decent shot of moving the football against the Bearcats. So first lean has me looking at the Thundering Herd plus as opposed to the Bearcats minus.
Lakin Marshall plus as opposed to Bearcats minus. We have more questions coming in. So Prince of the City is interested in this Nebraska OSU over. And then before we closed up yesterday, let me pull up yesterday here. Oh, because I'm mixing up but before we closed up yesterday's show, who was it? Somebody came in and said, where is it here? Said, I don't have it in front of me, but said, trust me, the Buckeyes are going to smash. Trust me, they're going to smash. What do you think of the over, and what do you think of the Buckeye smash?
Over makes a ton of sense. If you want the over, I bet it's sooner rather than later. Certainly what Ohio State has done over the first part of the season has been pretty impressive, and the days of bargain point spreads with the Buckeyes have come and gone. Obviously, we've seen a ton of this is wise guy money pouring in on Ohio State. This isn't public money, not on a Monday, not on a Tuesday, and just pouring in on the Buckeyes in this ballgame. Nebraska was a team that had very high expectations coming to the season, and from a point spread perspective, they haven't necessarily lived up to those expectations yet, to put it mildly. The offense is scoring, though. Again, over in that game makes a ton of sense. Sidewise, you're really starting to lay a premium with the Ohio State side. And that's, and all that being said, the best teams have been covering. You look at the LSUs and the Ohio States and the Oklahomas and the Alabamas and the Clemsons. And I know Georgia didn't get there last week, but the elite teams have been covering numbers. If you've been riding Ohio State, I'd ride them until they fail. If you haven't been riding Ohio State, it's not a time. I think that, this isn't a value spot to jump on board.
I agree with that assessment. That's a sharp assessment. We're going to start going through Drew Martin, Big Ragu, and Big Boss's early looks from yesterday's show. We're going to start with Drew Martin, and I'm going to pull up these numbers here at Sportsbook Review on the SBR odds page going to college football. Let's start off with his first look. We have talked about it already. It's the under in that Cal-Arizona State game. He's like in the under 41. What do you think about the under 41 in Cal's game this weekend?
Look, it makes a ton of sense. And the unders that make a ton of sense in college football are the unders where you get your bad beats. And at 41, again, there's no leeway there. With a pair of defenses, both these teams can score on defense. That defensive touchdown made a pretty big difference in last night's game for total bettors. Something to be aware of. I wouldn't talk you out of it, but it's not anything I'm going to bet.
No, I hear you, and that I thank God for the Redskins team total under cashing, because I would have just it was such a perfect 5 minute or 4 minutes to start out the game, and then the pick six just breaks my spirit. Okay, let's keep rolling. This is from our Drew Martin, and I'm trying to get these lines and the numbers to make it easier for you, and that is easier said than done. Easier said than done. Drew Martin's also on Air Force, minus 19. We've already talked about that. He's also going back to the well with UCF after that surprise loss to Pittsburgh. What do you think of UCF this weekend? This is 117, 118 against Connecticut. They are minus 42.5 at home against Connecticut, and the total open at 66, now at 64 or 63.5.
So the concept is UCF so mad, and they're just going to annihilate this team, and UConn can't do anything about it. UCF can beat UConn with their eyes closed, and they know it. I would not be surprised if they come out a little bit sluggish, and I'm not going to lay 42.5 points in this game, personally. If they want to, if they bring their A game, it'll be 70-0. It can be, they can have the spread covered at halftime. But I need to read something from UCF saying, we're mad, we're interested, we're going to kill this team before I get to the window laying 42.5. Because a lot of times it's a bubble burst dealio. You thought you were there and the pin pricks, and the next week you're flat as a pancake. And I worry about that from UCF this week. Yeah,
it's not a very comfortable spot when you have a 43-point favorite. The next spot on Drew Martin's card is a Thursday nighter. And we were seeing movement towards Navy during the show. So he was actually going against the market yesterday. Now he's with the market. Money's coming back in on Memphis, and that's who he likes in the Thursday nighter. He likes Memphis to cover against Navy. What do you think there?
Memphis has had no success in this series in recent years. Last year's meeting decided by 1 point. The year before decided by 3 points. The year before, Navy won by 2 touchdowns. This hasn't been a Tiger series. And that concerns me about laying points with them very much. Against the Navy, look, Navy was supposed to be god-awful this year. And everything I read in the offseason was this is a program in decline. And Matatolo is, he's had his time, and now it's moving the other direction. And yet nothing we've seen on the field necessarily has indicated that Navy can't compete, Navy isn't good, and the program's in severe decline. And the series history tells me that this is not the series that's anything that Memphis can handle easily. So again, I'm not likely to get involved in the game, but if I did, I'd be much more likely to take the points than to lay them.
Much more likely to take the points there in that spot against Navy. We have questions coming in. I want to stay with this, with Drew's card right now, but we have questions coming in and I am copying and pasting them. His next spot is in the over in Akron, UMass. You've already spoken about not wanting to take a side when the two worst teams are playing. Do you have any comfort taking the over when the two worst teams in the country are playing?
In theory, both teams should be able to move the football up and down the field against the opposing defenses. These are two absolute bottom-tier defenses. If you had to play the game, I wouldn't talk you out of that one. But, again, you're asking very, very bad teams to do stuff for you. There are consequences to doing that sometimes. I don't want to ask bad teams to have to do anything for me. All I want them to do for me is lose, give up points, and not score. And this is a situation where you're asking them both to score.
Yeah, it's tricky. It's very, very tricky. All right, let's move on to the last look on Drew's card, and that is Louisiana Lafayette, Lala, as you referred to them as, against Georgia Southern. Louisiana Lafayette opening up at -3. They're now -3.5. If you still want the 3, you can get it at BetOnline, but it costs you -120. That's his last look. He likes ULL to cover. Do you agree?
I think ULL is a class of that half of the Sun Belt, and I certainly wouldn't talk you out of laying a field goal with them against a team I think they're better than.
Okay. So of those looks, we see the ones that he prefers the most there. Beautiful stuff. Okay, let's move on to Big Ragu. We already know Ragu likes Arizona State. That was something that you agreed with. Now, we have a great capper in our chat. He's our Arizona Diamondbacks expert. He's our expert in all things Arizona. He also goes by the name Pink Eyed Genie. Not only does he succeed capping Arizona, but he also spreads pink eye awareness, and we're very thankful to have him rolling with us. He says, Pink Eye Genie says, too many freshmen on Arizona State. Going to get rolled, maybe a bloodbath. And this is our expert on all things Arizona. What do you think of the take here that he thinks there are too many freshmen and that this is a bad spot for the Sun Devils?
I don't understand why it would be a bad spot for the Sun Devils. They're coming off a loss. An overtime loss, a game where they got the slap that they needed. When you have a team, we just went on the road and beat Sparty, and then you come home and you get the wake-up call. You get the water in the face. I want a team off of that spot. This isn't a UCF where you just lost after winning whatever many games in a row, and then maybe you're flat. This is a team that was a little bit high, and now they're right back down to earth. So from a spot standpoint, I'm not really sure I don't agree with his take that it's a bad spot for Arizona State.
He mentioned last week, sorry to cut you off, but he mentioned last week that he thought they were going to be in a bad way last week because they have like a HBO-style show following them around. And he's like, they're freshmen. They're going to get caught up in the cameras. Look for them to be discombobulated. I mean, he didn't say discombobulated, but that was kind of his look last week, and it worked. So I guess he's kind of sticking with that same agenda. And Guru Sportsbet says Sun Devils are a good team, so not everybody agreeing. But he was on them to struggle last week as well. So he likes that to happen again. So you disagree. You think Arizona State got the wake-up call, and with the cameras around them, will step up against Cal?
I would only take Arizona State in this game. Although I'll tell you what, the sharp money's against me. The sharp money's come on Cal early on, but Cal's not a team I'm excited about laying more than a field goal with. Herm Edwards, again, every road game they play, look at him throughout his tenure. Every one of them has been competitive. No blowouts, nary a one. I think it's going to be a competitive game. That's my take.
So he is also on Oklahoma State and the over in that game. We've talked about this a little bit yesterday. What do you think of Ragu on Oklahoma State and the over?
I like Kansas State in that game. I think Kansas State's better than Oklahoma State. I want Kleeman getting points. I want K-State off a bye while Okie State's off this, down to the wire battle against Texas. I mean, a lot of signs to me pointing towards the Kansas State side of the equation. And I don't think Oklahoma State's that good. They had a BS cover against Tulsa. Oregon State moved the ball up and down the field against them in the opener. That defense hasn't stopped anyone. And they're laying points against the K-State team that they're going to be feisty. We like Kleeman a lot already. I like K-State plus. I think they're alive to win the game.
What do you think this total? It opened up at 62. It's either at 60 or 61.
K-State does not correlate with overs. So I'm not playing the over here. What K-State wants to do is slow them down, slow the game down. And I anticipate they'll be able to do that.
Okay, now we move on to some of Big Boss's looks, and we've talked about a lot of these games. One spot we haven't talked about is he likes Temple a lot this weekend. What do you think of Temple this weekend?
I love him. That's as good a bet as I've seen on the board. That's one of the best bets I've seen on the board. I think Temple, again, you want that slant. I know I keep slapping myself in the face. Can you hear that on the microphone? It's starting to hurt. Yeah. But tell you want the team off the slap, off the no-show. They come back. They're refocused. They're re-energized. Now, you want to make sure you read those coaches' quotes and you read those players' quotes and make sure that nothing fractured, the locker room hasn't fallen apart, because sometimes that will happen when a team's coming off a loss, a bad loss like the one Temple suffered last week. But I've seen nothing to indicate that. And this is a team that they should take care of business again. I like the Owls a fair bit.
I like that. That correlates with our DJ Big Boss, who's right there in the chat rolling with us. What a great guy, great capper he is. Okay, we have questions coming in on Notre Dame, Virginia. And I know we talked about this yesterday, but why don't we hammer this right now? Because Raymond Reichard asking about it, and Prince of the City, our guy Prince of the City says Virginia plus 11.5 is his look. Has anything changed in your assessment of this spot?
Not one iota. I mean, again, Notre Dame just went all in as a dog at Georgia. They played well. They showed well for themselves. They didn't win the game. But, it was a competitive effort. They didn't leave anything on the table. They fought to the end. Now you're switching roles. Oh, instead of being a live dog, now we got to lay doubles against a Virginia team that was in the mother of bad spots last week. And we talked about it, and they didn't play. They were down 17-0. And I really like the way they responded to that. Again, they got punched in the face early, and instead of, let's panic. No, methodically, gradually, got back in the game, took the lead, extended the lead, took a knee. Virginia's have been a feisty dog in the Mendenhall era, and I expect them to be a feisty dog at Notre Dame on Saturday. I like the Cavaliers plus the points.
Wow, some clarity I'm getting early. I'm gonna lock some action down in between shows. I'm starting to get some clarity on a couple spots. All right, next up, our guy Julian Yasin in the house says, Teddy, any opinion on Utah State minus 23.5? Huge injuries for CSU. What do you think about backing these Aggies at minus 23.5?
So I agree with the concept that Colorado State's in a world of hurt right now. This is a tough price to lay with Utah State. I mean, I came into the season, and let me make this very clear. I came into the season with a bad read on Utah State. I thought they would be down more than they were. They're not down. All that being said, this is not a bargain-priced point spread for the Aggies, and I'm not convinced that they're as good as they were last year. I know they've been better, that they've exceeded expectations early, but I still have that preseason notion in the back of my head with the Aggies saying, man, I'm not super excited about laying this price with this team. So I'm not playing the other way, but that's not what I'm going to get involved with.
And Caleb Shirless says, take the bye week at minus 9.5 versus my Tennessee Volunteers. We will find a way to lose this week on a bye. That's from our guy, Caleb Shirless. Brody says, Teddy Covers, I loved your ODU play last Saturday. Great call. What do you think about East Carolina versus ODU? Is it time to fade ODU after that spot last weekend?
So, I mean, I've heard a couple questions about this week. The problem isn't fading ODU. The problem is backing East Carolina. East Carolina is bad. All right. They were bad last year. They're bad this year. I haven't seen rays of light for that program in about 4 or 5 years. And in this point spread range, they're going to have to, they're going to have to be right there. So I don't want East Carolina. So it means I'm not fading Old Dominion this week.
Interesting. God, I'm so excited about hammering this card. Just getting to do this every day is just so much fun on the giant card. And we're going to get to do the same in college basketball, which I can't wait for. Perfect rotation. Okay, we'll close with this. Says, ask Teddy, could this be a more perfect spot for South Carolina to cover the -2.5 versus a banged up Kentucky team? And we've already heard you do not feel that this is a perfect spot for South Carolina. You think that Kentucky here, even banged up, would be your look, right, Teddy?
I think Kentucky is the better of these two teams, and I'm not interested in laying points with the team that I think is the weaker of the two squads. South Carolina is 1-3 right now. They're not feeling good about themselves. There's a ton of heat there. They're not a team I'm going to lay points with this week.
No, I agree with that take. Okay, beautiful. Beautiful. Big Ragu says, I figured out how to bet FSU the rest of the season. I'm looking forward to hear that from our Big Ragu, the sauce, from the boss and the sauce. Teddy Covers, man, I'm getting clarity early in the week, and I'm going to lock in some spots. I'll let you know what I have decided when we have you on this show tomorrow morning, because Teddy Covers is here every morning, Monday through Friday, on Betting with the Bag, and it is a treat to roll with you, Teddy Covers. Thank you so much. Could you please let all the lowbaggers know how to follow you on Twitter? And lowbaggers out there, if you're not following Teddy on Twitter, do so immediately. He is a great, great follow. Where can we find you on Twitter, Teddy?
Oh, we got a ton of low baggers following me now. I really appreciate all your support, guys. I appreciate the questions and comments. I don't always respond. I'm not as good as Jimmy as answering on Twitter, but I see them and I appreciate it. Thank you. And it's real easy. Teddy_Covers on Twitter. Thank you. And thank you, Jimmy. Best of luck today. Kill it in MLB. And we'll talk again tomorrow.
Oh, I look very much forward to it. There he is, Teddy Covers, on our show every morning. Just love rolling with him. Got a lot of good looks. I'm going to make a move on Virginia. I'm going to make a move that's backed by Prince of the City. I just read a big boss talking about not being comfortable backing his team with double-digit favorites. I am going to make a move on Virginia. There's a couple other moves that I am going to make, but I like what Prince of the City's on. Just looking at his OSU Nebraska over and his play on Virginia, I like where he's at right now. So I'm going to keep making moves here. And Pink Eye Genie adamant saying, don't do it, Teddy. ASU loses again big. Yeah, no, I'm going to stick with you, Pink Eye Genie. I'm just going to stay off that game. Don't need too many spots here. There's Jay Money in the house. Okay, with Jay Money in the house, let's get to WNBA quickly. And I know we don't have a ton of time, but there's one game, and we're going to hammer it on the late show. But I think that what Rod Zawacki, and I'd love to hear what Jay Money thinks of this, I think what Rod Zawacki said works for me. And I know that Ski Profit's already on the Mystics, but Rod Zawacki says Aces found ways to shut down the Mystics, and they dominated Game 3. They're going to come out and do the same in Game 4. And I'm looking at this spot. The Aces were in a terrible, terrible spot going into the series. It was not a surprise that they lost the first two games, especially that second game, because we were on Mystics at -10.5. We had no fear in that spot because we knew how tired the Aces' legs were going to be. That was their third playoff game in 4 nights. They get a refresher, they come back home, and they get to the Mystics. Now they're going to have a raucous, wild crowd, and I just think we're getting value on this team. I think that, let me go over to WNBA odds right now here at sportsbookreview.com, but my first instinct here is to make a move on the point. I'm going to get 4.5. So money coming in on the Aces here at Pinnacle. So I guess that's okay. Just over the last few seconds, really. It's just, there's been a 4-cent move in the last hour. So not big there. On the spread though, there's money coming in, so that's because there's 4.5s on the board. Pinnacle's still hanging this at 4. Gerald Martinez said Aces have had leads in every game. At home, they sustain it. Defense will be there. I think this is what I want to move, but I don't. Pink Eye Genie says I'll be Aces and under. Let's take and Jay Money says Mystics are on the mission. So I'm not going to go up against Jay Money and Ski Profit. So I guess that would end up being a no bet. Let's take a look at this total. This total opened at 180.5, and it's now down to 180. You got to think this is a spot. I like your card in college football, Princess City, very much. Broad's Wacky says Aces plus 4.5 and under. Let's go. Gerald Martinez says Mystics will get theirs at home. I agree with that. I'm just hesitant to go up against Jay and Ski Profit, and at that point, I'll just stay off. Raven in the Desert also on Aces and under. Wow. And Rod's Wacky also putting on Aces money line. So it's the chat up against Ski and Jay, and I think that might end up being a stay off. So I'm not going to make a move on the WNBA now. We're going to talk much more about this game on the Late Show. So I will let you guys know. Maybe I'll see if I can get Jay Money to pop on the show. Because Pete Conjini says if Mystics role players have a bad game again. Red Girl leaning towards the under. And Rod's Wacky says Game 5, here we come. Game 5, here we come. So we'll talk more about this on the Late Show. We've got to make moves right now. Thank you guys so much for being here on the chat. Thank you to our guests, Parley Papi, AntL and Teddy Covers, and then all this great stuff coming in from the chat means so much. Red Girl says Mystics are mad, Jimmy. The Aces have Cambridge, who can fight back. They have Asia Wilson. They have talent that can fight back against Della Dawn. So I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait before making a move here. I'm going to make a move. There is a SBR Sports Picks joining in the house. Remember that you can still join our Pick 6 contest at any time. Jump in Pick 6 contest. You still be eligible for all of our weekly prizes. So don't be afraid to jump in, even though the first 3 weeks of the season are gone. Here you go. Going to copy and paste right now. Here it is. Please jump in. Jump in at any time in our $50,000 Pick 6 contest. Madam Mal says Aces have a lot of personality. Yeah, I want to back them. Scotty Wap on Vegas money line first quarter. So I'm going to take time. There's Mad Cat in the house. Thank you for joining us, Mad Cat. All of you guys, thank you so much for joining the show. We have a big Late Show tonight, so please join us. That is 5:30 p.m. Eastern time, but most importantly, we got afternoon baseball. Leche, Alo's Bookmakers. Let's get after it. Leche, Alo's Bookmakers.